I'm here at HuaQiangBei, the largest physical electronics marketplace in China, possibly even the world. And it's dying. Now I'll tell you why. But first, there are still deals to be scored, so let's go. Our goal today is to buy a few things. First, I want to see if we can still buy good quality cables at a good price. Second, I want to see if there are still any good knockoffs to be found. If we're lucky, maybe we can find a good quality Dyson hairdryer clone or something. I also want to see if I can find any knockoff concept products. The secrecy from companies like Apple around new tech products means that people love to create concepts for things they wish existed. And factories in China like to take the ideas that seem plausible and run with it. For example, last year I found this round Apple Watch Ultra, which I thought was really interesting. So I want to see what's out there this time around. I also need to pick up some things that friends asked me to buy, so let's throw those on the list too. The main plaza of HuaQiangBei is divided into a few large buildings. Each building has floors dedicated to specific niches. For example, you might have a huge building dedicated to semiconductors and have 1 to 3 floors dedicated to just MOSFETs. Then on each floor would be tons of stalls set up by factories that make the MOSFETs, and at those stalls you can communicate directly with somebody from said factory. Now adjacent to and underneath those buildings, you've got big malls with basically an infinite supply of food and drink. Because there's so many people who work here, the food around here is super good and usually extremely cheap. But we're not here for the food or fetes, let's get to the cheap gadgets. We're starting our journey off today in the main plaza. Immediately you can see all the phone repairs and all the phone parts for sale that HuaQiangBei is normally known for. So there are buildings for different things. This one is mostly phones and phone parts. The one over there has mostly accessories, and then there's one down there that is mostly like odds and ends. Now the first thing I wanted to try and pick up was the knockoff Dyson hairdryer, so I made a beeline for that building. As always, walking in China is an exercise in dodging motorcycles and mopeds. The building I was trying to get to is called HQ Mart, but along the way, the guy just tried offering us fake handbags. And that just confirmed that the knockoff industry was alive and well. Hey, I built those. Walking into any of the buildings at HuaQiangBei is like entering a toy store. There's just so much stuff you can spend your money on, and you can get it for so cheap, if you know how to haggle. Immediately we're seeing lots of fake Apple products, like Apple Watches and AirPods and stuff. So after examining the newest trends of high-intensity handheld air blowers, I buckled down to haggle some hair dryers. They do have a screen. Well, I don't know if it works though. 老板，这个卖多少？哦，350啊。这可以插看试试看吗？可以，但是这个价位可以吧？哦，再想想看。She's gonna plug it in, see. So they don't say the prices out loud. They always put it on the calculator right there because they want anybody else to hear if you're getting a good deal. So this looks like a pretty good copy. 哦，是这样怎么样？这样开吗？哦，哎。是外面。好。Wait. Chinese. Yeah, it's in Chinese, but this is actually such a good copy. This is almost the exact...
What are the functions of it?
Oh, okay. So I think it might have hit the temperature limit. You can do cold, so it blasts cold air. You can control the fan speed, and this is hot for hot air, and you can change the temperatures. This is actually a way better copy than I would have expected. Well, you put your hair in here, and it's supposed to say like what temperature your hair is at, like when you're blowing through it. But I'm guessing they don't have a laser thermometer in here, so they just tell you
reach that temperature.
Or like they just have like a preset resistor or something.
Maybe.
Yeah. 你有别的颜色吗？这2个，这只有粉红色。
对，然后就2个颜色卖的比较好的颜色，它的颜色有一个是非常不好卖，不好看。
350。哦，那我再想一下。Here's a haggling tip. Never buy from the first stand you see unless you know the seller and know they're giving you a good deal. and always be prepared to walk away. Is that knockoff Smeg stuff? Wow, interesting. But now that we know the typical discount rate for these knockoffs, we can compare at the other stands. Okay, so they already have the knockoffs of the most popular, or the newest ones. 你好，这个新款。Here's another pro tip. Always inspect the product's build quality before you start negotiating, because oftentimes the sellers don't even really know what they're selling. This is the new one, I think. This is like the Neuro.
The new Dyson Supersonic Neural Hairdryer.
They made this transparent.
Wait, does Dyson actually do that?
Dyson actually does this.
You can see the sensors.
But you actually see the electronics here. This is just like a printed cardboard piece that looks like it. But the point is, when you put on a new attachment, it'll change settings automatically and adapt to stuff.
Oh.
I really doubt this does it.
Yeah.
But it's got a dust filter, I guess. I mean, it looks like the real thing, but it doesn't work like the real thing. Let's see. 你们有那个垂直的那种吗？这个卖多少？
这是295。
Oh. And this is why you always check multiple stalls. 只有这个颜色吗？
有3个颜色呢，蓝色的、黑色的。
As we talked, the seller started showing me the features of the knockoff.
就正常它那是小风的，因为你没放着。
对。
夹住之后它才是大的，温度、风速都可以调，也可以变冷风。现在是热风，你要定型的时候，你再点一下就冷风。戴森的功能都是一样的。
But here's another pro tip. When buying electronics that plug into mains power, always pay attention to the operating voltage. 你们有美国服的吗？
美规的得过几天，不到1周吧。就是这款的现在美规没有。那你要是赶上着急的话，必须拿的话，就是贵的那款。
贵的那款。
贵的要么是带 logo。
贵多少？是这个吗？400多。
有带 logo 的。
Oh. Remember when I said that often the sellers don't even know what they're selling? Here's a prime example of that. This seller is saying that the only difference between the non-logo and logo devices is the logo. But I know from previous experience that they actually come from different factories and that there are significant quality differences between the two. Also, this guy isn't even the owner of the store. The main owner just happened to have stepped away for a few minutes. So after looking at some more knockoffs, sort of crazy how well they copied this, but this is not correct. Not a real Apple Watch. Not a real Apple Watch Ultra. Oh my gosh. AirPods Max. This is not aluminum. This is definitely plastic. AirPods, but with a screen on it. We decided to come back later and talk to the real store owner to place our order. 老板，你知道老板娘什么时候回来吗？
他一会儿又回来了。
我们先算一下，我们等一下回来。好，谢谢。What else is interesting here? So now we've got some time to burn. Fortunately, there's no end to weird and funky gadgets to peruse at HuaQiangBei, even if most of them were low quality and cheap. Like this MagSafe battery that attempts to look cyberpunk but was actually just a recycled design with random components glued to a plastic piece. Or this robot vacuum that in fact does not vacuum but drags a cloth around. The most egregious thing, though, I found was this heated glove that, contrary to the smartness the signage advertised, had the sketchiest battery placement I'd ever seen. Oh my god. Is there even a BMS on this thing? I think probably not, really.
Maybe there's like a small one. Like right
is that
here.
A PCB here?
Yeah, I think there is one.
But there were some gems. What is going on here? Like this super nice sounding floor standing speaker that definitely does not look like another famous design. And these super cute massagers. These are pretty cute. And this awesome Chinese chess playing robot that uses an electromagnet to pick up the pieces. It even has a training mode to teach you all the strategies. It does take a while to set up the board though.
It takes so long.
I know. So this robot is $22.99. It's like $315 right now. It did eventually finish setting up so we could finally play with it. Is it done? Yeah, it's done, it's done. And the game began. After every move, you have to press the I'm done button. And there's a timer on there. So that's your... And it says congratulations. And then you can go to this next level. Oh my god. So now it has to set everything back up again. After playing a few more rounds of the bot, we decided it was time to go back and order the bootleg Dysons. When we arrived back at the booth, we found the boss to be back and quite busy. Hey, 老板娘. But after talking to her, we discovered that our suspicions were correct. The logoed hair dryers were in fact from another factory, so there were significant quality differences. So after negotiating the Dyson Airstray knockoff down to 300 RMB and the Airwrap knockoff down to 210 RMB, we hit the pavement again to find the rest of the shopping list. But first, I owe you an explanation. Remember at the beginning of the video I said that HuaQiangBei was dying? So part of the reason why places like this are sort of dying is because there's been a huge shift to online marketplaces like JD, which is something like China's Amazon, and Taobao. The sellers on these marketplaces can run their stores at a fraction of the cost that it takes to maintain a physical presence here at HuaQiangBei. And it's just a no-brainer for them to run it online. Transformer earbud fidget spinner. You can get your camera equipment here. PC parts. One of the other reasons is HuaQiangBei's phone repair booths are sort of dying. In the face of manufacturers locking down their hardware ever tighter, it's becoming less and less reasonable to go to a third-party repair store instead of just getting your phone warrantied with the manufacturer. This floor is all LEDs of all kinds.
My eyes are hurting.
Yeah. This also used to be where smaller phone manufacturers and electronics manufacturers would offer like more personalized service, but that's sort of gone now also. Now I'm not saying HuaQiangBei is going away completely, but it is evolving into a different thing. And of course, there will always be a need for physical presence. However, whether that continues to be in the form it is today or something else remains to be seen. Anyways, time for more deals. Alright, so now we're on our way to get some cables for people. Let me let y'all in on a secret. I've actually got a cable lady here who always gives me good prices for high quality cables. Finding her booth is super simple. First, go through secondhand phone alley number 2,000,003, realize you're heading the wrong way.
I have hit that block.
Yeah. Go to the next building over, enter at Xiaomi authorized retailer number 541, proceed down fake Apple devices alleyway 7819, pause to examine the new trend of curved Apple Watch Ultra knockoffs. It's sort of interesting. And finally arrive at your destination on your left. I'm picking up a bunch of cables for a few friends here, including magnetic cables, Thunderbolt cables, and Apple cables in several different colors that launched with the new iMacs. They've even got X'd out Apple serial numbers on the connectors. It says Apple A726 class. Now that we've got our cables, we need to find the rest of the phone accessories. One last pro tip for buying electronics at HuaQiangBei, especially ones that contain batteries, is that unless you know what you're doing and can verify the exact battery specs and safety, don't buy from the random booths. At best, you'll get something like a battery that doesn't last as long as the seller claims. At worst, you'll get something so poorly made it breaks on the second or third use. Maybe even catch on fire. You'll mostly want to buy from the stalls of wholesale distributors of one specific brand. Like this Momax wholesale stall where I picked up a desktop USB multi-charger and an Apple Pencil alternative. A lot of times they will carry all plug types and voltage ranges.
So why don't you just get Chinese plug and work?
Sell you single items at the wholesale price, which you won't be able to haggle by the way. And even carry products from the brand that are not available in overseas markets. Of course, I'm not saying that if you see something at a stall that is interesting enough that you shouldn't buy it, assuming you haggle a good deal. Just be aware that whatever you buy will likely be janky, so always make sure to test it first. Now that my shopping list is complete, I think it's time for a HuaQiangBei haul review. This is everything I got today shopping at HuaQiangBei. There's quite a lot of good deals, so let's go through them all. These are the knockoff Dyson products that I managed to get. There is one more that they didn't have on hand today that they said will be shipped in a couple of days. So I'll just show you these today. First up, this is the Airwrap, or at least a knockoff of it. It comes with 4 attachments. This one is like a comb that directs the air. This one you use to curl your hair. This one is basically another comb, and this one is a blow dry switching attachment that rotates like this for blow drying. This is the actual machine, and it comes with a standard US plug. They sell two versions, one that you can use in the EU and one that you can use in China. And this one is basically the one that you can use in China, but with a voltage adjusted for the US. Here's the newest generation compared to my previous generation fake one that I bring on trips. You can see the buttons are updated. They now sort of have like this radial texture. They're a lot more clicky versus mine, which is like sort of mushy. The filter area seems updated. This one is like a large holes in this filter. The holes on the new one seem more fine, and the magnets are stronger too. This attachment mechanism is also a lot more solid versus on my old one, it's like not so solid. There are CE markings here. You can barely see, but it's there. How much that CE marking actually means, I don't know, because you can basically self-certify these. So, as far as documentation goes, they really stopped short of calling it a Dyson air dryer. So instead, they call it a multifunctional air hair styler. The funny thing is, it's actually in Russian, so go figure. Moving on. So next up on the list is some stuff from a brand called Momax. They're a Hong Kong-based brand that sells stuff on Amazon, but they have a flagship store here at HuaQiangBei. I got 3 things from them this time. 1 for my friend, 2 for myself. The first is this 120-watt desktop charger. The second is this MagSafe battery, and the third is this Apple Pencil replacement. First up is the desktop charger. So if you look at the packaging, it says it's got a Chinese plug, but the Chinese plug is actually basically the same as the US plug. And since this device works on all voltages, it's basically US compatible. In the box is a charging cable, a stand, and the charger itself, which is actually quite hefty. The charger slots onto the stand like so, and provides 100 watts on the first 2 Type-C ports, 45 watts on the second 2, and 20 watts on the Type-A ports. Now at the time of recording, this charger isn't even on the US market yet, but I got it here at HuaQiangBei for about 268 RMB, which is right around $36–37. That's a pretty good deal for this thing, I think. Next up, we've got the MagLink Pro, which is an alternative to the Apple Pencil for people who don't want to shell out $129 for apples. It's made out of titanium and has a transparent tip and window, so you can see the electronics, which is pretty cool. It charges wirelessly off the iPad like the real thing, but unlike Apple's, it also charges via Type-C, so you can charge it however you want without having to pick the cheaper Apple Pencil. All you have to do is put it right on the charging pad, and it just charges. So last Momax thing I got is this. This is the QMag X 5000 milliamp MagSafe battery. I'm not going to take it out of the packaging because this is actually for a friend. I got this for about 168 RMB, which is 23 bucks or so USD. On the Momax website, I believe it currently sells for $55 USD. So this is a really great find. This is something that we spotted walking out of the building, but it is basically a folding travel charger. So this will charge all of your Apple devices at once. Your phone, this is a MagSafe charging spot. This is for your watch or your AirPods. And this is also for your AirPods in case you're already charging your watch. This folds up like so. And you have a very compact package specifically for traveling. This thing is about 95 RMB, which is right around $13 or so. On Amazon, I think you can find this for maybe 25 or even 30 or maybe more. So this is not a bad find. Next up, let's take a look at the cables from Cable Lady. So these are magnetic cables. They're not magnetic on the tips, but they are magnetic their entire length. So every time you're done using them, they just automatically coil back into the same coil. You can coil them tighter, or you can coil them looser. It's really up to you. I find that these are really nice when you're traveling. It's less stuff to worry about and they never get tangled. Like literally, I've tried, it's really hard to tangle them. And they're basically braided. You can never kink them, and they're super durable. I ended up getting a ton of these cables in all sorts of different lengths because I find that I tend to use them all the time. And next up is a request from somebody on Mastodon, colored fake Apple cables. So I got these for them in 3 colors, orange, yellow, and purple. Now it's worth noting that the ones that I got this time around are actually Type-C to Lightning because that's what the person requested. But I will be going back in maybe tomorrow or a couple of days to actually get more cables because I told somebody else about these and they also wanted them. So those are going to be Type-C to C. These cables were about, how much were they? 15 RMB each, which is about $2-ish. They're USB 2.0 speeds and they're not really going to blow you away in terms of quality. But if you have a lot of these laying around, they're actually pretty flexible and they are braided, so they're less easy to kink. And yeah, I would just say that these cables are pretty okay to have around if you don't care about data transfer speeds or anything. So actually the shop owner recognizes us, and because we buy so many cables from her every single time we go back, she gave us this. This is a short braided Type-C to C cable. I believe this is a full Type-C to C cable. I have not tested this on my cable tester, but the build quality on this thing is pretty good. It's really flexible, it's braided, it's got metal enclosures on both ends. Yeah, I mean for free, I'll take it. I also got these Thunderbolt 4 cables in 3 different lengths that had decent passive controllers in them. They were fairly inexpensive as far as Thunderbolt cables go. I'll put the prices on the screen. What's interesting is the longest one was 3 meters, which is way longer than the Thunderbolt 4 spec allows, but somehow it still works. So the shop owner also sold me this for 50 RMB. This is a charger, but it's not just any charger. The front of this charger is actually a full IPS display, and when you plug this thing in, this display lights up and shows weather data for your current city. Now what's interesting about this thing is I think it embeds some sort of really low powered SoC, but that chip runs an entire web server. I never thought that in the year of our Lord 2024 we would have a phone charger that runs an entire web server on it, and yet here we are. This charger supports the Quick Charge 2 standard and provides up to 35 watts of power to 2 USB-C ports. Both of these USB-C ports are Quick Charge compatible. To show the weather on the charger, all you have to do is plug the charger into the wall and wait for it to boot up. Once it's finished booting up, it will show an SSID on the screen, and when you connect your phone to it, it will show a setup webpage. Now the thing about this charger is I haven't been able to get it to display any weather data that is not Shenzhen or Beijing. For example, if I put in San Francisco, it just defaults back to Shenzhen. So I don't really know if I can get it to display any weather data from Western countries. So it might turn out to not be that useful for me anyways, but it's sort of cute. It looks like a TV, so I guess that's worth something. I also got these AirPods Pro concept knockoffs that have a screen on them. You can scroll through the touchscreen to control volume, transparency modes, EQ, and use controls like play, pause, skip, and even phone functions like remote shutter. There are also some extras like lock screen wallpapers and Find My earbuds, although it's worth noting none of the features work very well and the sound quality is absolutely abysmal. I actually got 2 different models of these to try because they each run a different operating system. The OSs on these earbuds are actually forked from the same ones that run on all the knockoff smartwatches. I'll make a separate video later with a deep dive on them. But speaking of Apple and knockoffs, there's one more interesting thing I found. We found a fake Apple store. Let's go inside and see what they've got. Everything is wee-woo. But they sell AirPods? The phones are real, yeah. So they sell AirPods, By the way, excuse the janky camera, they really don't like people filming inside, for obvious reasons.
As in, like, it's not real Apple.
Well, this is,
Huh?
these are real colors that they sell. They sell AirPods, but they are Wii-Woo.
Oh, the Wiimu is just a sticker, I think.
Yeah, but this is not a real AirPods case.
Yeah.
This and it comes with random stuff. It even says pop-up window.
A pop-up.
It's like the quick pairing thing.
And then on the barcode, is it 吉马式耳机?
Wow, incredible.
The brand is Vivo.
Yeah, it's definitely not real. Now I'm doubting if these are definitely not real cables, right? They've copied this.
But this looks pretty thick. Does it? Apple.
That looks like the real thing.
Yeah, but Apple doesn't tape it crooked.
They do sometimes.
Do they?
It's not that tightly controlled. Let me see the side. The side is a sticker. What does that sticker say? A2244. That is the correct model for the AirPods. So maybe, or not AirPods, chargers, yeah. That's a correct Apple model, so I wouldn't be surprised if that's real.
Yeah, we just have so many weird stuff.
Yeah, wow. Interesting. Well, that's it for my HuaQiangBei video. I hope you enjoyed it, and I'll see you in the next one. If you liked this video, subscribe to my channel. I've got more videos on tech and autonomy during my travels coming up, so if you're subscribed, you'll be the first to know. Also, thanks to my Ko-fi members, y'all make these videos possible.